Hello, Rachel. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Doing well. Happy Monday. I'm so happy to be here.
Beautiful. Happy Monday. Same here, too. And you see, I truly appreciate you. Thank you so very much for being here. And you see, oftentimes, Rachel, I love to thank my guests for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, I want to say thank you so very much, Rachel, for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invested in yourself. And oftentimes, which I love to make reference to, the amazing mango tree. You see, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Rachel, just recently, I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree, you see. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately, I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches. And not just mangoes now, Rachel. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day, and I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Rachel that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to say no to you. And getting to read a little bit about you, the beautiful stuff that you're doing, I find it very inspiring and profound, just like I mentioned earlier. So I've got to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. And secondly, thank you for being here. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you. I love that mango tree story. That's
So,
beautiful.
yeah, thank you. So let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today, Rachel, for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Rachel, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge now, but the application of it. And you see, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible Rachel on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, Rachel, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Rachel, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Rachel got here. Then, afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Rachel, over to you.
Well, thank you again for having me. I am Rachel. I am the founder of Made for More Coaching. And Made for More Coaching is built or was created on the premise that you can have a career or a job that is soul sucking and miserable, where you feel sick, unhealthy, unhappy, or you can apply your gifts and talents in a way that lights you up and still makes you great income. So how do we do this, and how did I come to be doing this? I was in the corporate world for about 20 years, and I was flying pretty high, doing pretty well, feeling relatively good about what I was doing. But I ended up going on an unexpected family planning journey to have my children. And it took me many years and a lot of heartache to have my children. And when I went back to work after my son was born, I realized I wanted to be doing something very different. what I was doing previously day to day all of a sudden felt quite draining, felt uninspiring, and I just did not feel like I was aligned with my calling. And what I did is I started working with a coach and I started really looking internally about who I am, what lights me up, and how I could apply my gifts and talents differently. And I made a very large pivot at the age of almost 40 with a child and a mortgage, and anybody can do it. You don't have to make a large pivot like I did, but I ended up leaving my job and going back to school full time to become a therapist. And now I'm a therapist in private practice, and I run my career coaching where I help other people who are feeling stuck and uninspired figure out how to make what I call a small, medium, or large pivot.
Wow. And that's really amazing. You see, it was such a great asset to this planet, I tell you, and we need many more people like you. Because the fact that you are helping folks who are stuck get unstuck and discover who they are, their gifts and talents, that's amazing. And I love that. So I've got some questions for you, okay? So let's start with this very interesting one. So why do so many smart people stay trapped in careers that they secretly hate?
There are a few primary reasons. I would say number one is fear of change, fear of being imperfect, fear of beginning again, or being a newbie. Uh, the second is some kind of shame going on, like, well, this pays the bills, or it's working well enough. Who am I to want more? And so some of that self doubt around, am I worth enjoying and investing in myself more and taking a risk? I help everybody take a calculated risk. I don't believe in impulsive decisions. Um, Maybe when you're young and you don't have kind of as many things that we need to do as adults, but even still, I call it a calculated risk. So I think a lot of people don't have the right community, the right infrastructure, the right roadmap. And because of that, they feel defeated before they even begin. So they don't get started. I like to share that most people find me when they're 20 to 50% happy at work, which is, I always say, would you drive a car that's 50% falling apart, or would you live in a house that's 50% falling apart?
Yeah,
And so what we do, exactly, you would not, right? And you probably wouldn't stay in a relationship, or you would really think about leaving
yeah.
that relationship if it was 50% falling apart. So what I do is I help people move from 20% to 25% to 27%. We're not going to get to, the goal is 80%. We're never going to enjoy 100%. I mean, that would be nice, but we want to be realistic as well and set ourselves up for success. But we have to make a little bit of a change at a time.
Got that, got that. And thank you for explaining it that way. You made it quite easy to understand. So you say careers are for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So what does that mean?
Well, when we are unhappy at a position or on a team, or in a role that we feel overqualified for, underqualified for, we have imposter syndrome, whatever the case is, we have a toxic boss. Very often we can't just leave tomorrow because we have all these responsibilities. And so that job might be, for the reason right now to stay is to get out of there, right? And the reason is to pay the bills and to grab the recommendation, keep high quality relationships. But that's not the job that you're going to have for a long season, because nobody can withstand that kind of misery for too long. So then we think about jobs for a season. Wow, this is a great job while my children are small. Or this is a great job while it's the winter season, right? Literally the season in life, and it's so busy and I can make a great deal of money. Or I can really invest in this, or for a lifetime. Oh my gosh, I really want to be what I call in the right room. I want to be changing lives, making an impact. That's often for a lifetime when we have a job. It's we're so invested in what we're doing then we can withstand the roller coaster that is generally work. And so when I say reason, season, or lifetime, if we're unhappy, we need a light at the end of the tunnel. We need an exit plan. And we need to be very thoughtful about that exit plan.
Got it. Okay, so what about this one? How do you know when it is the right time to quit?
Okay. So you generally know it's the right time and it's so variable. And I would not say it's like a formula. It's not 1 + 1 = 2, right? It's 1 + 1 = 3. So really, you need to either speak with an expert or a mental health professional, speak with a finance professional. Generally, if you're having what's called somatic reactions to your work, so somatic reactions is when your body, this is sort of where the psychotherapy meets what's going on at work, or another term is vocational psychology. How is what's going on at work impacting our mental health? If we're having bodily reactions to how stressed we are at work, I'm talking heart palpitations, sweating, dry mouth, insomnia, nausea, we feel undermined, we feel unappreciated, we don't feel safe psychologically that we can speak our minds, then very often over time, and that could be a short period of time or a longer period of time, we're going to have to figure out that kind of survival mode kicks in, the fight, flight, freeze. And so we're going to have to figure out how do we thoughtfully exit. I would say that is a better word than quit, right? We're going to exit this very miserable, uncomfortable opportunity and create a landing place for ourselves.
For ourselves. I got that. So it's getting really interesting and insightful. And I've got to say thank you so very much for how you are answering those questions. You're making them really, really easy to understand. So I believe
Thank you.
I believe there are some things that are so inevitable, of which challenges is one of those things. So how have you been able to overcome this tough moment, this very hard period? Can you share that with us?
Challenge is a part of life. I mean, that's just a given. Doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing. Uh, so I think our relationship with challenge is really, if we think about, money, health, wealth, we want to be in relationship with these things. We don't want to avoid it. We don't want to be overindulgent in it. And so for me, specifically, when I was going through a very challenging time, I would say three primary things really helped. One is knowing I couldn't do it by myself. So getting the right community around me. And similarly, not inviting the wrong community in. So being really thoughtful about, one of my favorite authors says, who you're allowing into your moat. You are your own castle. So who are you putting the drawbridge down for? And how are you creating a moat around you? That should be for all time, not even challenging times, but especially challenging times. Second, having a plan. So most of us, when we're feeling some kind of challenge, we're very often don't feel like we're in control, or we're not in control. So understanding what are we in control of, which is most of the time our time and energy, not other people, not somebody else's timeline, right? All of those things, our time and energy, how do we maximize those things? And then I would say, lastly, faith and gratitude. Actually, I really became, at that time, became much more of a spiritual person, became much more of I have daily gratitude practices. And it's easy to be grateful when things are great, but when things are not as great, how do we still say, I mean, I'm looking out my window right now, I'm watching birds flying, it's a beautiful blue sky. I got to go on a bike ride this morning to drop my son off. I mean, feel the wind in my hair. Just really tapping into, and of course, life is my day is full of challenges. I'm sure challenges I don't even know about yet, but just having that sense of gratitude, really, it's a very grounding experience.
Having sense of gratitude and being around the right community. Wow. That's a beautiful one. I got that. So we have two more to go. Okay. So, how can professionals align their gifts and talents with their values and skills?
Okay, so for everyone who's listening, I have a very practical exercise that I'll ask you to do. You don't need to work with a coach. You just need a good old piece of paper and a pen or an Excel spreadsheet or whatever works for you. So I want you to think back on your week. It could be the last day, the last 48 hours, and write down, but think about it professionally. And I want you to write down the things that you did. So I got on a podcast, I had to write a budget, I had to do a marketing plan. And I want you to write that in column 1. In column 2, I want you to write what percent of your time you actually spent doing that. And then in column 3, I want you to write your percent enjoyment of that task. So if you spent all morning, if you spent 50% of your day public speaking, but you like it 10%, all of a sudden you can see there's a disconnect. If you spent your day creating an editorial plan, and that was 10% of your day, but you found that you enjoyed it 80%, okay, well, now we know we can turn the volume up, or that's something we really enjoy doing. So that's an introspective and proactive way. And then I encourage people to either label that like green, yellow, red. What are the things I want to turn the volume up on just a little bit? You might have constraints. Of course, we all have constraints. My boss won't let me, or I don't have enough time. Okay, well, one more minute, or do it outside of work. But then you're starting to tap into what actually fills you up a little bit more. And of course, there are tasks we all have to do, but we're trying to not do those in a way that fills up our entire day, because that's going to be a long day.
And that sounds very practical and effective. That's amazing. So to bring this to an end, Rachel,
It's a start.
it's a start.
It's a
Hmm.
start, because then you have to think about, okay, how do I have staying power in doing these things, and am I really set up for success to do these things long term? Am I in the right position, the right team? But it's a very good starting point. We all, start where your feet are, that kind of thing.
Got it, got it. So to bring this to an end, Rachel, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who would like to reach out to you, learn more about the wonderful stuff you're doing, or even ask you questions or open your services or programs, how can that be possible?
Yeah. So I would like to leave you with, you deserve to love what you're doing. Life is short. This is our one wild and precious life. And if you're unhappy, you deserve to be happier. And if you're happy, you deserve to be even happier. So take yourself seriously. So many of us will do things for other people. Let me help that friend out. Let me help my child out. Let me help my parent out. So please carve time for yourself to ensure that you're living your best life for yourself. I have many programs. I do ongoing coaching. I do a one-time deep dive into what's going on in your career. We look at your resume. We looked at the jobs that you're applying to, where you're stuck, and we make a quick action plan to get unstuck as quickly as possible. And I'm constantly posting resources, articles, success stories on LinkedIn. So my website is Rachel Spekman, Spekman, or madeformorecoach.com. It takes you to the same site. And I'm sure you can link those down at the bottom. And I offer consultations with people free of charge. So you can find all of that. And I have a training on my website as well that goes into some of this in greater detail.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that's going to be the end of the show, Rachel. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this wonderful stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.